So let us see that one here. Let us try to understand how stiffener is designed. Today what I will do is end stiffeners I will take. There is a slight difference between the way end stiffener is designed and intermediate stiffener is designed. You can see that one here. You can unmute all of you. I mean, mute here right now. Now you can observe this one. So this is what is your uh, stiffener design. I cannot, as I told you, I cannot continue the same problem because the problem given in that problem, the data was like that. Stiffeners were not required. So only for this particular design, I'll be using a different problem. So it is a part of the solution now, part of the solution of a different example. Now observe here. Now this is already first steps are already done, like dimensions are finalized, flanges are checked for moment of resistance, web is checked for shear buckling. Everything is done for this problem. Okay, now I have to design a stiffener. Observe here. Now let us look at this particular example. Design of end bearing stiffener. The stiffeners which are very close to the support, we call them as end bearing stiffeners. Usually see, if you see any plate girder anywhere, specifically if you see the railway bridges, most of the railway bridges are steel bridges only. Okay, and rarely you come across masonry or RCC bridges. So here what happens is, in case of any railway bridge, you cannot imagine a plate girder without end bearing stiffener and intermediate stiffeners. Okay, that is why try to understand. It is not difficult actually. It is not a difficult design. Now observe here. Now we are in the, some data is given. We are in the third or fourth step of the solution. These are the dimensions which are checked for shear buckling of the web, flexural strength of the flanges. That is already checked and it is okay. Now the span is like this, 20 meter, and total UDL, total factored UDL is for this particular plate girder is 126 kilonewton per meter. This was the problem. Many steps are already over in this. Directly I am concentrating on end bearing stiffeners. Now when do we say that I have to design end bearing stiffener? When is the condition arises here? Observe here. In the previous classes I have calculated this one, that is check for shear, actually check for end shear. So here you can see this maximum shear is at the support, WL by 2, WL by 2, and the value is 1260 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. If you want, you can try this. WL by 2, 126 into 20 by 2. So that value is the maximum shear force at the near the support. Okay. Now whether without stiffener, whether this plate girder is able to resist or not, I have to check. If at all without stiffener, the plate girder is capable of resisting 1260, I don't have to provide end stiff. That is what you have to check. To check it, you use this formula here. Already this has been explained. FW, you need to draw this figure here like this, all dimensions. This has been explained how to check for shear. In that problem, this was more. In this problem, this will not be, this will be less than VU, WL by 2. That will follow it here, just see. So here I have calculated FW B1 plus N2 into TW F5W by gamma naught. This is already there in the code book. If you refer my previous notes, on which page it is available also it is given. Now I have taken stiff bearing. It is called a stiff bearing as 150. It is our assumption. It can be 100 also. I have taken it as 150. and all these are calculated. This this dotted line is 1:25. Then only because this is the dispersion line, load dispersion line it is. So with this one, I'll be able to calculate B1 plus B1 and N2 and all those things. So N2 will be this will be equal to this vertical height, that is 40. It means now it is 2.5 into 40. Actually, this one 2.5 into this height will give you this side of the triangle, which is N2. So just multiply this one 2.5 with height. That will give you this side, that is 100 mm. It means you're able to calculate all this. TW is the thickness of the web here. Now you end up with 909 into 10 raised to 3. So the shear resisting capacity is 909 nearly. Okay. So without stiffener, the plate girder is capable of resisting 909, whereas the actual how much is the actual shear force acting here is 1260. You compare these two. That is why I have not taken the same problem for designing of stiffeners, because there VU was less than FW. Stiffeners were not required. So once you know that here, the plate girder without stiffener, it cannot resist the shear force. So the solution is stiffener has to be designed. So that is why you can see hence stiffener is required. Now observe this one here, this diagram. Stiffener is nothing but two plates on either side near the support. Location of this particular stiffener, right now you don't worry, it is very near the support. At what distance and all, let us worry about it later on. Now here, this diagram is actually, I have taken a longitudinal section of the plate girder. Whatever this line is showing here, along this line, it is the web, 16 mm thick web. It runs longitudinally like this. You can see this one here. So it runs longitudinally in this direction. Okay. Now, stiffener is nothing but two plates on either side where the shear force is maximum. It is near the support only. So these are the two plates I have to design and weld them. This is one plate, this is one plate. Sometimes single plate may also be sufficient. Normally it is not done, but in many cases that is followed. Now observe here. Is it the diagram is clear? See in the red, whatever arrow I am showing, this is the longitudinal direction. This is the length of the plate girder. Near the support, section is taken. Exactly along the neutral axis, it is cut, and you are able to see some portion of the web. And I am going to connect these two plates wherever shear force is more than the shear capacity. Okay. So how to design this? Now observe here. Right now, see, right now I have only this 16 mm thick web running like this along the longitudinal section. Now what I will do here is maximum reaction at the support is 1260. Reaction is WL by 2 1260, which is also equal to VU because it is uniformly distributed load is acting. So let us try two flats. You be clear about this here. Directly what I'm trying to say here is just observe this. Let us try two flats of thickness 16 mm. It means I'm trying to use the stiffener plate thickness equal to whatever thickness of the web. Thickness of the web. Okay. In that way, I have assumed the thickness. Okay. So that is there is no problem now. Whatever is the thickness of this one, you can assume that one. Still, you can assume 12 mm also. There is no problem. But to be on the safer side, I'm going to use the thickness same. So this is first thing that I have done. Next is let us try two flats of thickness 16 mm, one on each side. So one is this side, one more is this side. These are the thickness, length and all I have not decided right now. Then maximum width of the stiffener, how much it can be. Now when you look at this one, this diagram here, so the plate will be connected here. I'll draw this figure, just see this. I'm going to connect the plate here. Okay, this plate will be connected this side, one plate like this. This side, one more plates are to be connected wherever shear force is more than Fw. That is shear resistance of the plate girder. Now you must see that it should not cross this B. Outstand, it is called as outstand. The width should be selected in a such a way that it should not cross it. This distance I am telling, this one should not be more than this. Lesser is better actually, slightly less is better. That is why I have to calculate this distance first, then see that it is not crossing that. Okay. Now let us see this one, what I have done here. Maximum width of the stiffener cannot be more than outstand of the flange. This is outstand. How much is that? 425 minus 16 divided by 2. 2 means one this side, one this side. So the outstand is, just observe this, 425 minus 16 by 2. 425 is the flange width minus 16 divided by 2 means on each side. That is outstand. There is a maximum width of the stiffener cannot be more than 204.5. Otherwise, it will cross beyond this plate girder. So what I have done here is 204 is the maximum limit given. I have selected 200 instead of 204.5, which is maximum allowed here. So I have taken near to this number, but less than this 200. So each plate is now 200 by 60. So the plate is having 200 by 60. It means you can see this here. This is 200. This side it is 200. So each plate is a rectangle of size 200 by 60. In this way, the dimensions are checked. That is, these are all trial and error preliminary dimensions. I may have to change if necessary. Right now, I'm going ahead with these dimensions. So 20 times TW. So some portion of the web also resists, see this, some portion of the web also participates in resisting this shear. So what I have done is these are the plates, two plates on either side. Some portion of the web also takes part in resisting this shear. So I have to decide the dimension of part of the web which is contributing in resisting the shear force. I have to decide this dimensions now. 16 is already thickness is there. How much is this center to center? 20 TW. All these are approximations. Once they are satisfactory, once they are able to resist, when you find out final value of FW or whatever, if it crosses WL by 2 VU, I can say stiffeners are strong enough. Everything is approximate. Now observe here, 20 times TW from the center line, not from the edge of the stiffener. Carefully observe this. 20 TW is taken from the center point. So what I will do, I'll start from the center point of this. I'll go this side by 20 TW, 20 TW this side. So 20 into 16 because 16 is TW. So I'm going to get the dimensions from the center line. Finally, I'm able to get the rectangular part of the web, which also contributes in resisting the shear force. Let us see how much is that one. 20 TW is 20 into 16, 320. 320 core area of the stiffener. Just observe 20 TW, 320 it is. Now you can see this one here. This one is from the center line. It is this up to this. 20 TW. Okay. Again, this side also. This part is contributing in resisting the shear. So how much is that one? That is 320 mm, 20 into 20 TW. Now core area of the stiffener. Now observe here. Core area of the stiffener, when I say like this, what I mean by this one is this one. Core area of the stiffener. What it means here is I am simply calculating the area of the web. Area of the web which is contributing to the resisting the shear. Observe this. 320 into 16. You can see this one carefully here. What is stiffener core area? See this one. How much is this area? You have to check here. This area. Total area is nothing but total area. This much is how much? How much is this? 320 into 16 because up to center it is 320. Again this side 320 into 16. So this plus this is 2 into, see this one. This is 320 into 16 two times because two rectangles are there. One is this rectangle, one more is this. So like this, that is how the core area of the stiffener is calculated. Effective area, sorry, effective area means you have to include area of the stiffener also. Now area of the stiffener is, see this one here. Finally, I am having an effective area which is going to resist, the, see this is final. This area is final here. Now what is this one? Are you able to see these numbers? Can you see these numbers or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Observe here. See, whenever you want me to zoom it, you can tell me. I'll zoom and I'll show you that one. Now observe here.
Yes, sir.
What is happening here is effective area of stiffener means just add the area of two stiffeners. Already you know that area of the web contributing is 320 into 2 into 16, which is here. See this one. It is here only 320 into 16 into 2. This is web portion. 200 into 16 into 2. I'll show it in the diagram only. See this one. This is 200 into 16. One area of one stiffener. Other side is also same dimension. So 2 it is. 2 into that. See, effectively what I'm telling here is you just add this rectangle and these two rectangles. Effectively, it is nothing but red color, whatever is there, no, the portion of web, area of the portion of the web, and two stiffeners on either side. That is it. You have to add three rectangles. That's all. So area of three rectangles is 16640 mm square. Let us go to the next page. You can see this once it opens. I'll show you that one, how the design is done. Again, after this end stiffener, bearing stiffener also I will explain. I don't know whether it is possible in today's class, but I will explain that also. Then assignment will be given. So you observe here. You observe this one here. What I have done is some calculation mistake I have done initially. Now MI of the stiffener, moment of inertia of the stiffener. Very simple it is actually. It is a question of finding moment of inertia of two rectangles. Which are those two? I'll show you here. I think I could not get this page here. This one is not appearing in the. I'll just check with the notes. Now observe this one. Finally, the value of Moment of inertia is somewhere here. (96.2) into 10 raised to 6 it is. I'll correct it and I'll put it in the WhatsApp group here. So how I got this moment of inertia, I will explain. I'll go back to that diagram. It is a question of finding moment of inertia of two rectangles. You can see there are two terms here. 95.9 into 10 raised to 6, 218.5 into 10 raised to 3. Two terms are there. After adding these two terms, 96.2 into 10 raised to 6 I am getting. So I'll just correct it in the notes later on. This is 10 raised to 6. 96.2 into 10 raised to 6. Now let us see how I got it. Let us check it. I'll go back to the previous diagram. How I got that answer of moment of inertia. Let us see this diagram here. I think the diagram you can see now. Now 16 into 416 q by 12. BD q by 12. 16 into 416 q by 12. How it is? For this one, you look at the stiffeners. 16 into this size. 200 plus 200 plus 16. How much is this? 416. So I'll tell you. I'll give us this one here. Observe here. I'll change the color and I'll tell you what it is. Okay. There are two terms in moment of inertia. First term is, observe this figure. It is this rectangle. Simple first year MI, when you were in first semester or second semester, that time rectangle. That time's portion. So 16 is B. D is how much? 200 plus 200 plus 16. 416. 16 into 416 cube by 12. That is one rectangle is over. Second is this rectangle. So the thing here is, for both the rectangles, centroid is same. That is why it is very simple to calculate moment of inertia. Centroid is same for both the rectangles, whether it is a vertical rectangle or horizontal rectangle. Now that is first term. First term is 16 into 416 cube by 12. Second term is this rectangle. So this rectangle dimensions are 640. 640 is this distance. 320 plus 320. 320. You can see this. This is 320. Okay, BD cube by 12. B is 320. D is 16. That is 320 means 640 it is. 640, the reason is 320 is up to the center. Again 320 this side. 640 into 16 cube by 12. Two terms are there. So once you calculate these, you end up with, when you add this moment of inertia of two rectangles, you end up with 96.2 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. All this I have removed it. Next is radius of gyration. R is equal to I square root of I by A. Radius of gyration is square root of moment of inertia divided by the area. So area is 16640. Where it is, I'll show you. Area is, see here, 166. Again, area of two rectangles. Here I have taken area of 4 rectangles. It is 2 areas, 2 here. Total, it is total area of the plus side. Whatever plus you are observing there, whatever plus is here, this plus area you are calculating, that's all. That is area of that. So next is, now you can see, this is just designed as this one, imaginary column. Now 96.2 into 10 raised to 6 divided by area, that's area of the plus, that's stiffener. That entire thing is stiffener now. Entire plus is stiffener. 76.03. Okay. Now slenderness ratio is LE by R. LE by R is slenderness ratio. What is LE? What is R? Let us see. R is already here 76.03. What is LE? 0.7 times effective length. It is effective length. So it is an imaginary column of height 0.7 times 1700. Now I'll show you what is at 1700 here. It is here. See, I have drawn this figure. That is why 1700 is this. That is height of the web. So effectively, what you are trying to do here is effectively what is our this one here is what I am trying to do. Observe here. Effectively, I am trying to design a imaginary column. That's all. Effectively, I am trying to design an imaginary plus shaped column. The column is plus shaped. This is so this is the web here in this direction. These are the stiffeners like this. You can see it is a plus shaped column. That's all. Plus shaped imaginary column subjected to that one. So that is why what I have done here is, as per the code book, I have to multiply by 0.7 to get LE. So that is slenderness ratio will be calculated now. Observe this one here. It is an imaginary plus column of height 1700. Height effective is 0.7 times that. So lambda is equal to LE by R, 0.7 into 1700, 15.65. This is what I got slenderness ratio. Now I'll go to table 9C on page 42 of IS 800. Here corresponding to lambda 10 and 20 values are there, but 15.65 FCD value is not there. From FCD only I will be able to find out how much is the load carrying capacity of this plus shaped column. It means I have to interpolate it. 10 for 10 it is 227, for 20 it is 224. For 15.65 it is in between these two numbers. So I think you can do it now. That is, I have not calculated this one. I'll give you some time if you want to calculate this. You can just get this FCD value using these four numbers. 5 numbers are there actually. 5 means 10, 227, 20, 224, 15.65. With these 5 numbers get this value. So once you find FCD here, PD you can calculate, which is AE into FCD. What is this AE? Total area of that plus 1660 something like that. That you put it here, and FCD you calculate. Find out this value. It will be more than VU. Earlier it was not more than VU, it was less. Because of the stiffeners, we are able to increase the load carrying capacity or shear resistance of the member. So I think you need to do this one. So this is, now you can see simply the design is actually over here. You have to calculate this, that's all. What are these two? And when you find out this value, substitute, write it here. It will be more than VU. Then you can say hence the design is okay or adequate. That's the end of the design. Any questions in this one? Some of you can right now do it. Right now you calculate this one. I'll give you 5 minutes. Just calculate this, interpolate it, and give me this value. AE, you know it. What is AE? Area of the plus. Effective area, which is how much? 16640. Area of the plus sign. So you can say this is the design is over. Buckling resistance PD will be greater than VU. PD is more than VU. So there is no question of any buckling failure of web near the support. So it means I have designed the end stiffener. So again you can see here, you observe this one. In the meanwhile, somebody can calculate this. Simple it is.
225.305.
220.
225.305.
Okay, this is 225. Okay, 225. You substitute FCD area, whatever is there. No, see this number, and divide by 10 raised to 3 to get in kilonewtons. So 16640 into 225.3 that you multiply, divide by 10 raised to 3. So you are able to get PD value, which has to be more than VU. If it is less, what will happen? You increase the thickness. Instead of 16, because you cannot change the 200 dimension. It will cross this plate girder. Now I am having a restriction of 200 mm. I have to change the thickness if at all. PD is less than VU. That will not happen usually. Otherwise, you have to increase the thickness to 18 mm and redesign. Here, that situation will not be there. Okay. So, if anybody has any doubt in this one? Very simple design is there. Parvez is having some problem, I think. Parvez, any doubts? All of you type your.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Now, see here, I'll just summarize it. Decide the design steps in a short way I have given. Decide the size of the pair of flats on either side. Pair of flats. These are nothing but flats only, two rectangular. Okay. See, the steps are very simple. Decide the size of the pair of flats on either side. Determine the core area of the stiffener. Determine the effective area. Effective means add those two. Total area you have to calculate. Total area of the plus you have to calculate. Effect that becomes AE. Determine IZ and RZ. They are nothing but, as I told you, in steel structures, IZ is nothing but IX of strength of material. Okay, that is usually we take it as IZ. Okay, X is the direction along the length of the member in steel structures. So Z means, in steel, Z means X axis of strength of material subject. Now you can see this. Determine LE by RZ. So once you find IZ and RZ, find the slenderness ratio. Then use table 9C, find out FCD. So buckling resistance is PD is equal to AE into FCD. So once the buckling resistance has increased, it is going to take care of VU, that is factor shear. Okay. I think say almost I have completed this plate girder. Only thing is that you refer S. Vishwanath. If you want, I'll take this PDF of that solved example. Use my method. Don't refer that solution. Only for answers you can check. Otherwise, whatever I have done here, in this way, only you solve the problem. Don't follow the method given in the book. Maybe he's also, maybe he may be given the same similar things only, but follow this method. What I am doing here, you follow that. Next is a check for bearing capacity of the stiffener.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, yesterday when VD was less than VU, we increased the web thickness. And today we designed the stiffener. So first we have to design stiffener or increase thickness when VD is less than
See, actually what
VU.
happens is, see, what you should understand is, usually plate girder, first you start with flanges. After finalizing the preliminary dimensions, trial dimensions, in every design of steel, it is trial only. First attempt is trial only. It is. with sufficient practice or practical knowledge, you will be able to decide the trial dimensions, which will be very close to the final answer. That actually requires time. Here you have to go by thumb rules and fix up the trial dimensions. First check the flanges for flexure, because flexure is taken by flanges. So once you are okay with that, go to the web. So yesterday I taught you web, that is web shear buckling. Based on that, you have to revise if necessary the thickness. Once this is done, then you calculate FW, check for FW, whether I need to provide stiffeners or not. Okay. Usually when I started solving the first example, there was no necessity. If at all you try to find out FW and VU there, you will find that VU is less, which means stiffeners are not required there. But in the examination, they are not going to set such exam problems for 40 marks. Student has to design, the problem is set in such a way that it is clearly given in the problem. Design intermediate and end stiffeners also. Otherwise, it will not merit 40 marks. That is why what I have done, even though, see, that is why I am choosing a different problem for explaining different steps. The reason is, if I start solving first problem only, there stiffener is not required only. That is why I cannot do like that. In this way, we cannot teach steel structures. We have to use different, because the conditions are different. Conditions where stiffeners are required is different. Anyway, I'll give one full-fledged example from the question paper. You try that one by my method, whatever method I am telling. It will be easy for you. Solve problem number 1 using thin web. Now, for example, if I tell you to solve example number 1, I have to say that use thin web now, because if you use thick web, stiffeners will not be there. Solve problem 1 using thin web and end stiffeners or bearing stiffeners, end or bearing one and the same, but avoid intermediate stiffeners. You try to understand, some conditions will be different. Whatever conditions I'm writing here, no, these will be slightly different if at all you want to design a plate girder in which end stiffener and intermediate stiffeners are also required. If the condition is given in the problem like that, all these values, whatever I'm telling, these values will be slightly different. That is why I'm telling you, you have to solve the problems and understand separately what will happen to D by TW ratios in case I have to design both end stiffener as well as intermediate stiffeners. All these ratios will be different. Conditions will be different. So unless you solve a problem in which no stiffeners, only end stiffeners, both end as well as intermediate stiffeners, unless you see the step number 1 and step number 2 of these problems, you cannot appreciate these examples. That is why you have to see all the 3 different problems you should solve and understand, because these conditions of T by W and all those will be different. For example, here, one example I'll show you. Some problem is given. What he says here, solve the problem 1 using thin web and end stiffeners, but avoid intermediate stiffeners. If I want to avoid intermediate stiffeners, what is the D by TW ratio I should go with? Now, depth of the web. If D by TW is greater than 200, then intermediate stiffeners are provided. That is why, but what he says here, avoid intermediate stiffeners. In the design, you should not use intermediate stiffeners, still it should be safe. That case, you have to, again, in the initial stage only, you have to adjust all those like this. When D by TW is equal to 100, we can provide thin web with only bearing stiffeners. Now, this is a very important statement here. Just observe this. You observe this statement here. When D by TW ratio, you fix it as 100. Okay, you're trying to design safely. You're trying to design a plate girder in which only bearing stiffeners are enough. That is why every problem initial stages, the D by TW ratio has to be adjusted properly. Then only you can design without any stiffeners, with end stiffener, with both, like that. 3 cases will be there. In all the 3 cases, D by TW ratio becomes very important. Any questions here? See this one, it is, see this, thin web, 1200 with only 12 mm thick. So when you decide such a profile, this is a profile of the plate girder. See, when you decide a profile like this, 440, 36 mm, see this, how thick it is. How thick is flange? 3 times it is. 3 times the thickness of web. 12 into 3. It means it is very thin. Web is very thin. So now this profile, if you use this profile of plate girder, what will happen is you will be designing the plate girder with end stiffener. Intermediate stiffeners are not required. Now, how to understand intermediate stiffeners? Once you design intermediate stiffeners, you will be able to understand everything properly. What will happen? What extra I am getting using intermediate stiffeners? Usually, the intermediate stiffener is placed just below the point load. Wherever concentrated loads are there, there is a chance of buckling is more. There is a chance of buckling of web is more. Below the point load, example I'll show you, observe here. In this case, where is the necessity of intermediate stiffener? If I ask me, I will put one point load now. I'm going to put one point load here, say somewhere here at a distance of 4 meters or whatever. If there is a point load acting here, I need one intermediate stiffener just under this particular point load. The critical location is that because under the point load, there is a chances of buckling of web is more. So end stiffeners, these are the point loads actually. What you should understand is stiffeners are required wherever point loads are active. Sometimes if the UDL itself is heavy, that time also we need stiffener. That is, span is more, UDL is more, no point loads. There also I need intermediate stiffeners. But usually, normally for this type of loading, wherever point loads are there, I need stiffeners. If the stiffener is provided for the reactions, it is end stiffener or bearing stiffeners. If the stiffener is provided elsewhere inside, it is intermediate stiffener. That is how you should understand all this. So I think see, by now we should be able to design a plate girder properly. You can tell your friends that I am able to design plate girder. Any doubts are there, you ask, I'll just send it. I'll just send the notes. There is no problem. But whenever I give a problem from question paper or Vishwanath or any other book, try to solve the method that I have explained. Now observe this one here. Here, this problem, the profile is created in such a way. The profile is created in such a way that these conditions are used. D by TW is 100. We can provide thin web with only bearing stiffeners are enough. So thus using the condition of D by TW is equal to 100. For other details, refer Bhavikatti page 327, first edition. This page also I will send it. I have this book. Now this is the profile of the. So for this profile, so you can check when you receive all the notes, you check for each problem the profile of the plate girder. Wherever stiffeners were not required, what was the profile? Only end stiffener was designed. What was the profile? When both were required, what was the profile of the plate girder? If you know that one, you can easily solve this one. So sometimes what happens in the question paper is there will be some confusion related to trusses, whereas plate girder data may be easy to follow. That time you have to solve plate girder, avoid the truss. Sometimes plate girder may be lengthy, truss may be simple in the question paper. You have to attempt truss. I cannot say that you don't study truss and only you. We cannot say like that. Sometimes the problem is very lengthy. That is gantry girder. It's very lengthy problem. It is. You need 2 hours. But what they will do, they will ask you to avoid some design, some part of the design. They will make it 1.5 hour only, because 1.5 hour is required to solve one problem. One more is for RCC. That time, what will happen is you will see that truss is little bit complicated, whereas uh, in case of gantry girder, some steps they are not asking me to do. I'll go with gantry girder. That may also happen. That is why you can think properly there. Any questions in this one? This one you try this one. See, I'll give you complete solutions. Complete solution I'll give you, but follow my method. Complete solution, because see, whatever I'm explaining here in this format only, you try to solve the problem. First is profile. Fix the profile of the plate girder using the thumb rules. Again, as I told you, it all depends on D by TW only. Again, D by TW is decided based on no stiffeners, only end stiffeners, or both. Based on that only, D by TW ratio has to be decided. So like that, you complete the profile, check the flanges first for moment of resistance, check the web for shear buckling, then calculate FW and all that, check whether you need end stiffeners or what. Usually once this condition you set it, once you set the condition of D by TW ratio, it goes with that, whether stiffeners are required or not. FW will be less, VU will be more. Again, design the end stiffeners. Like this, so you can complete the design. I have to explain intermediate stiffener, which is very simple again. Nothing much is there in that. That will do it later on. So any questions here? Anybody has any question in this? So all of you type your USN here. Anybody has any questions to ask in this? So main thing you try to understand, you look at when you read, see when you read a solution in any textbook or wherever, see the problem and check whether I am asked to design the stiffeners or not. Once stiffeners are not required, look at D by TW, how the profile was finalized. Because in the first example that I explained, there was no requirement of any stiffener. The profile was different. The profile was based on different D by TW ratios. Like this, you should check whichever problem is solved. For example, if you refer some book there, and you will find that he has designed both end as well as bearing stiffeners, then how the profile he has finalized. You have to go back and check the dimensions. On what basis he has arrived at the profile. So I will stop it here. Because you can see this one here. Just my yesterday's notes are here only. All these are there. How it is, you can see this. So this is a very compulsory this one. If there is a plate girder, you have to design this. You have to check for shear buckling. You have to check it for the shear buckling. So it means we have reached nearly 30